This one's out to the heads that know. Never been seen that jet black snow. When I'm on stage with the mic in my hand, got the vibe of the gang and the rest not know. Living in peace, use breath control, and if I'm in deep, best tread that slow. Don't come with a next angle. Got more sides in the rectangle. All that past, just let that go. Turn off the lights, don't end that show. Look on dance floor, show gets live. Oh, I see pyros, I see smoke. Graveyard shift, that's set in stone. Stepping stones, I'm stepping slow. Come to the venue, bless them go. My DJs come to let them know.
This video is for informational purposes only and is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. Welcome back, YouTube. This is Eric at Studio 182 Digital Pro here with Austin Oral Parabolic 33 live streaming in the house. Special guest tonight, Blunt Force Tanya, coach, and also Coach Mike Horner from the Mike Horner Muscle Project. We're going to get into a great show tonight. Tanya is one badass chick. She's got a show coming up in 9 days, actually, the Saturday after this one following up. So she's been in prep for a while. She's on her final upcoming week here, and we're going to get all into this. And to Tanya, and Mike's going to be a support coach here, the support guest. We have a lot to get into tonight, including blood work, some transformation pics of Tanya's work over many years. And actually, this is even her first show, which is pretty freaking amazing. Now, Tanya and I, we talked yesterday for a little over an hour or so. I got to know her a bit and hear her story. It was pretty freaking amazing. And it was awesome how much we actually, you know, despite being the opposite sex, had in common, both personality-wise and things that we've been through together. And I want to publicly apologize to Austin because we actually had an agreement that was going to be a three-way call. And this is why you shouldn't just assume things. Like, I was just under the assumption that he wasn't available without actually contacting him because he wanted to be involved in the conversation so he knew what was going on. And that's why communication is so important when you're working with each other. I'm sure that Mike and Tanya can relate to the miscommunication of people that you work with and how it could, potentially cause problems and conflict within a relationship. So that's why it's important. So I just wanted to say sorry, Austin, for that. You know, we're going to be working together, and we've talked about this in length today about communicating more and getting on the same page. So that's that. So I just wanted to say that we'll get this shit worked out so we don't move forward with more conflict and all that, and just get this thing going because we're on a mission.
Right. Right.
Good talk. Good talk. I'm proud of you guys.
That's nice of you to say. Yeah, thanks. I could definitely see how I've been, just without making it personal, I've been going through some stuff, and I don't have as much time as I want to be putting into this. So Eric has really been doing the heavy lifting here. So shout out to him. And
It'd be like that sometimes.
Yeah, but that's his it's just a more testament to his abilities. So I really appreciate it. But,
yeah, no problem, man. You know how it is. You're starting out, especially, and Mike, Tanya, if you want to jump in, I'm sure how important communication is with anybody, even your clients that we talk about all the time. And have you ever run into these problems where a client's like, "What the fuck"?
No, not really.
I mean,
no, not really.
Yeah.
Good.
I mean,
You're
I'm
doing
usually
better than I am.
like, I'm usually pretty good on the communication side. It's more so trying to pull the good communication out of them a lot of the times and trying to make it clear that, like, The coaching actually happens in the communication back and forth. It doesn't happen in the hiring of me and the getting of the first initial training program or nutrition program or drug program or whatever it is. Like, that's just something you could get off ChatGPT for free. What you're paying for is the service, and you have to participate.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's about going both ways and also being proactive. So yeah, we all have a lot to learn as we're starting out. So of course, we all know Mike. How you doing, brother? We're going to get to you in a minute, Tanya, because you're the main guest of the show. We all want to hear about you. I just want to see how you've been doing, Mike, since I saw you last. Getting
Well,
1 week closer.
Started prep this week for Masters Nationals, so this is
Hell yeah.
week 1.
Yeah. Well, it's back. You're back on your cycle and whatnot. It feels good to get those androgens back in your system, right?
It does, yeah, it does, yeah. They're just, I mean, I'm starting out pretty low,
Yeah.
so it hasn't been too extreme, but I did catch myself getting a little overly angry today at the appliance installation technician that came to my house.
That happens.
Under trend, right?
I'm like, oh, that's right, I'm coming on.
Yeah. That's right. That's the way I feel when I pop an oral. Like, if I'm at my house for more than an hour after I took it, and I'm like, I got to get out of here to my wife. I got to hit the gym because I'm getting pretty freaking irritable.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
It's a good thing I'm a female and I don't use high doses, because I'm kind of like that baseline. I don't need to be more of an asshole.
Yeah, I think we said that yesterday. People either love me or hate me, and I say it all the time. It's just because I'm so fucking blunt, and the truth hurts a lot of times, And I'm not saying I'm perfect by any means, but I'm just straightforward, and people just don't like that sometimes. I'm not very diplomatic. It's not a skill that I learned. And that's what happens
I've
when
learned
you
it's
spend
just it's insecure. I've learned it's insecure versus secure people. Insecure people get really threatened by that, and they resent people that are just secure and transparent. And so they project that on you, and you become the enemy and the villain in their story.
There you go. That's true. It's so true. So, Tanya, I mean, blunt force Tanya, you actually, told you that yesterday. That is like a fucking badass name. It's so freaking
You know
cool.
what? I changed it to that years ago, when John Meadows was still with us. And I was on one of his live streams on Instagram one day, and he told me that he loved my username. This was like soon after I changed it to that, and I'm like, and then after he passed, I was like, well, I can never change my username.
Yeah, and I wouldn't recommend it because that shit sticks, and it sounds great for a coaching business, right?
Yeah, it came like years before I decided to start coaching, so I just kind of like bled it into that and branded it, so I guess it's permanent now.
Hey, everybody in the chat. It's happy to see you here. We got 6 people live, and we also have the Heavy Reset, Dave Perez. That was an awesome stream we did last week. We're going to take your question. Matter of fact, let's just take it right now. And then we're going to get into Tanya and talk to her, get her backstory, and have a lot of fun. This is Dave Perez from last week. He needs to know if Tanya has put the PEC in the rotation deck yet.
I have not, because at this point I've pulled out injectables anyway, so it'll be a while before I have to try that.
What's your strategy for that with pulling injectables? Like, what is it? What are you trying to look for and achieve with that?
So just pulling out to see if that'll drop some extra water, because that's like the main thing with me. I don't get flat easily, but like I mentioned before, it takes a lot for me to drop the water. So just doing that to drop the water, and it's at the end of when I would normally stop a cycle anyway. And I have noticed that the initial weeks after I come off, I always look and feel my best.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah. And I got to wonder if the trend of removing the test, like that you hear before a show, is inherent to the fact that testosterone makes you hold water, So I wonder if that's like, because people run injectable Winstrol and stuff like that into shows, and that's a common practice, injectable, but then you've got lumps potentially.
Yeah, that's another thing, is I want to avoid having any potential lumps and, get rid of any irritation under the skin from pinning, because I do notice that like towards the end of a cycle, like the body just starts getting tired of being poked, and it just feels worse and there's more inflammation from it. So I just want to like not have any of that.
What's your peak week strategy for getting rid of the water, Tanya? You said you have a hard time getting the water off.
So that'll probably just come from, again, just pulling out the injectables. I also pulled out GH, and then we'll see if we need to do anything with like sodium and water or anything. I have my electrolytes are really consistent anyway at about 5 grams of sodium and 5 to 6 grams of potassium a day. So we can modulate that pretty easily because that's a pretty high level anyway to maintain at. So if we need to pull any out, it'd be easy to. And he's told me to have about 15 to 30% more fluid than I normally have starting right now, so that we have that to taper if we need to, because I take in a lot of fluids too, like easily over 2 gallons a day just habitually. So that leaves a lot to pull from. So and we're actually not tapering down training because my body seems to look its best and its driest when I am actively training to full intensity. Like my legs don't get washed out from leg training. They look the most separated and the most vascular at the end of a leg day. I usually drop weight after a leg day. I don't retain water after a leg day. So we're going to keep training the same next week, tentatively, and just bring in that extra, what I was mentioning before we started recording, the extra 130 or so grams of carbs starting on Saturday. And we're just going to linear load that way and see what we need to do from there.
So you'll do 7 days straight with 130 grams of carbs. And you said you're adding some fats in that load as well?
Yeah, well, 130 grams extra because I'm at about 130 grams a day right now on my low days. And so we're going up to between 250, 260. And my fats I've kept my fats really low, like low 20s. So they're up to like just 25 to 30 is my target. And then a little bit less on the protein. So I was like 150 to 160 before, and now it's like 140 to 150. So almost the same.
So there's no one day that you're going to load up. It's just a sequential 7 days.
Yeah, we're just going to try the kind of bump it up to maintenance and see what that linear load does for this first one.
Yeah.
That's the most predictable. Like, I feel like that the things that you can control, the more of them, the better, basically, because, if anybody's ever been in a diet, like and really depleted and lean and is doing like a refeed once a week or anything like that, that's always the time when you're like super puffy most after.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I would have my high days every weekend up until now, and I would always go up a little bit after the high days, always.
Yep. Yeah, like clockwork.
Well, the sarcoplasm that lends itself to that full look is, glycogen, water, and sodium, right? So it's a really delicate balance to drop the water so you have that dry look, but not flatten the muscles out. And the reason why I asked the question is because Tanya's kind of unique in that she is someone who doesn't have a hard time staying full, but has a hard time pulling the water off, and if she has to pull carbs at some point to help get the water off, then she might find a threshold where she starts flattening out.
Yeah, and he did mention that we might, because I do have a nice high potassium level. We might pull down the potassium a little bit in relation to the sodium later in peak week. So
you got a diazide on hand just in case?
I don't.
Break glass in case of emergency.
I don't, but my client that I'm prepping for the same show does have some. So
I think
there you go.
Tell me what you guys think of this. You've probably seen this with more people than I have, but when you get depleted and you dig down into glycogen, and then on the way up, the faster you go on the way up, that's when the water is there. Like, so if you've been at some sort of homeostasis, like at true maintenance after being back to full, that's when you're going to look the best. I feel like I've never seen a look that looks dry and crispy when you go from depleted to a carb load, at least not till some time after it.
Yeah, that's some time to catch up.
A good strategy for that is to carb load kind of early, right? Like I know that I do my carb load, I think 6 days before, and we'll load up on carbs on one day, And this is why a lot of people do the test peak, right? Because then they can carb up and they kind of know where that threshold is, where, okay, this is too much carbs because I spilled over, or this is not enough carbs because I never really filled out, right? And I've made those mistakes of getting on stage where I just never filled out. And then by the time I started to look, by the night show, by the time I started to look like I had eaten enough carbs to fill out, I was spilled over and I looked like hell in the picture. So, there's definitely a balance point there. And I didn't have any of that last year in any of my shows, but getting to that magic spot in your carb load where you're full, but you're not spilling water over. And, a lot of times that takes a test run to do it.
Yeah, and I think that's a big advantage of having like the regular high days on the weekends. Like I've had that low day, high day rotation the entire prep, is it gives that opportunity to have those regular refeeds and see what happens throughout the prep.
Yeah, for sure. That's an advantage to carb cycling in general, really.
Yeah.
You kind of know where that pain point is.
Yeah, go ahead, Austin.
I actually missed the carb cycling point because I was thinking of mine. So what about it what does it lend itself to?
Because one or more days a week, you're loading on carbs already as part of your regular diet.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah. So like my last contest, I never went below 900 grams of carbs on a high carb day. So we kind of knew that was a spot where I could fill up to and not spill over.
Right. Yeah. Your high day mimics like a carb load, basically.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you've been flat all prep and you want to try to test that limit a little bit, then that's a good time to do a mock peak and just kind of find out what it's gonna take.
I don't know if you noticed this too, but I like test suspension, anadrol, superdrol, and using those for loads. Like it's hard to get a big difference from those unless you are carb loading with them. I don't know if anyone else has noticed that, but if I take anadrol during the days when I'm in a low day, I don't get anything from it. It's only on
definitely need carbs on board for that.
Yeah. It's almost like I added nothing. Like I can take 200 anadrol and I don't even get the GI sides too, which I usually do. Like a couple doses of anadrol, I'm puking in my sleep, like acid reflux style.
Do you guys think there would be a benefit to using anadrol as an oral as opposed to Anavar during peak week for that reason?
It can make you spill. I would say superdrol is the one to go, but even better is actually, in my opinion, YK11. When I put those three head to head, pound for pound, it's like the strongest thing that there is, basically.
Because what I was planning on doing was just keeping it as it is right now, which is 10 milligrams a day Anavar through peak week. I do still have my 10 milligram Anadrol tablets though left over.
I'd probably stick with the Anavar because I think Anadrol lends itself to, like, it magnifies whatever your carb load is doing. So like if you've been carb loading on, say, or you do a high day of 900 carbs, like Mike said, but not Anadrol with it, the time you do 900 with the Anadrol is going to be something else completely.
Right.
It's unpredictable. People peaking on Anadrol, but I think halotestin is more common more commonly used for peaking.
I haven't had enough experience with that one, like as the only variable. I've added it in, but in a mix with Winstrol, and I don't know what I got from it.
Yeah.
I've also played around with the idea of not injecting my HRT during peak week because, I mean, I kind of have a natural way of lowering my estrogen in that way, but I don't know if that would produce any noticeable percentage of an effect.
This is where, like, I'll hit on my SHBG thing again. Like, having that ability, I think testosterone does seem to lend itself to water retention independently of estradiol, because there's people who will crush their E2 with AIs, but then they prefer to pull tests before the show. And it does seem to lend itself to that. So I just know that some of, like, the by far driest that I've been is I'm just using an E2 base with Tren or something like that.
Right.
It sounds bizarre, but E2 base, Tren, Winstrol. That was like that shines really well for being dick skin thin.
So maybe just do my estradiol and not the test.
I don't want to tell you to do something new that you haven't messed with, but you haven't messed with anything at that point because it's your first show. But
you inject such a small amount, Tanya. Is having any lumps a concern for you? Do you ever get PIP or anything?
No, because it's only like I do it twice a week, and it's like single-digit milligrams.
I mean, the primary reason why
really tiny amount.
The primary reason why people do it is so that you don't have lumps or something that can be seen on stage. I mean, a secondary reason would be, water retention, potentially. So, if you have a hard time getting dry, I mean, my primary concern would be, okay, how do I make sure I get dry? And if dropping testosterone, I mean, do you ever have any water retention within days after taking your TRT?
No, not noticeably. Like, it doesn't really change.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't mess with it. I'll just keep doing what you're doing.
Try it in like a mock situation,
Yeah, it's too late for mocks now. She's 9 days out.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you gotta
do it after. Do it
but
after.
No pressure.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I would do after the show. It's worth a shot because of what was I going to say? Because like when you pull test, you can't really separate it. It's assumed that it's the estradiol that causes the water retention from it, but you can't really unlink those two variables.
Right?
They're kind of one-to-one.
Yeah. Have you ever actually peaked for a show, Austin, or you just mock peaked yourself for the fun of it?
Never for an actual show, but dozens of mock peaks. My cuts were basically just me doing that over and over.
Check
and over
1
and
2. Can you guys hear me now? Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I've been trying to talk for 10 minutes. I'm like, what the fuck?
Oh my God.
My mic came unplugged while I was messing around with this. I didn't even know it. Anyways, I wanted to jump in. I wanted to take this question from Dave Perez, and then I want to get roll back here. We'll start to introduce Tanya, and then we're going to get into, because we got a lot to get into, her pics, her labs, all that, because people that may be watching may not know Tanya whatsoever, and we want to bring her more followers, especially to her IG. So let's take this from Dave Perez. He's asking you, Tanya, what are some strategies that you use as a female on cycle to mitigate virilization? Compounds used, avoid, max doses that you deploy?
Yeah, so there's better choices for sure, less virilizing choices for females, and that's, it's not just Anavar. Like, I don't support the idea of women like just jumping on an oral to do their first cycle. I think there's better options than that. But Anavar is one of the less virilizing options. Also Primo, NPP, Masteron less so, but it's been used by females and hasn't seemed to cause a lot of issues, so that's an option too. But staying away from the more masculinizing things, staying away from using high levels of testosterone. If you need TRT, use a TRT base, but definitely don't use Tren. EQ, I've not heard anybody reflect that as a good idea for females either. But really the biggest thing to avoid masculinization, virilization is going to be your dose and duration and managing that properly. It's not the same as men at all. Like, it's a fraction of the amount. Like, I've never used more than 100 milligrams a week, and I've never gone like, this is my longest cycle just because it's for a prep, so it's going to be 10 weeks, but that's pushing it for me. I think that anywhere from 4 to 8 weeks is where women should usually run cycles, and I think that we need to have twice the amount of time off in between. So for men, I would say the amount of time off at least in between. For women, twice the amount of time off in between.
My take is, I think you guys know what I might say, but, SHBG is like another way like, you know, free androgens, like free DHT from test is, you know, we know that causes virilization. Like DHT, you get 10x androgenic potency, none of it in the muscle, you know, because of the 3-beta hydroxysteroid dehydrogenase. It breaks it down. There's an enzyme that
and that's
breaks
exactly and that's exactly what makes, you know, certain choices less virilizing and certain other choices more virilizing.
Yeah, I think a test is really the only one that does it, but I don't have any experience with like female bodybuilders on this versus that. Like, but I think on paper, test would be the worst.
Yeah. And it also varies per individual. Like there's some I've heard from some women that as little as 2.5 milligrams of Anavar dropped their voice 3 octaves and they started getting beard hair, like literally. And then others, like it just really depends on how sensitive the female is to virilizing effects, and that's gonna vary per individual. It's gonna vary per ethnicity. Like I know that Asian women are particularly not susceptible to virilization. They seem to handle androgens very well from a lot of things that I've heard. So it just depends person to person, and so each female has to really pay attention to what's important to them as far as virilization. Like if it's your voice, if it's hair growth, if it's skin stuff, if it's clit growth, if it's, you know, whatever it is, you need to pay attention to those things and know where your stopping point is.
Yeah, I was highly susceptible because I don't sound the same as
me neither. Oh my gosh, it's crazy. When I hear things from like 5-6 years ago, it's like, what?
Yeah.
It's funny because I'll get, like, now that I look like I'm enhanced, now I get all the Anavar voice comments. Guess what? My voice hasn't actually changed. I had a deep voice before. It runs in my family. You should hear my mom.
Really? No kidding.
I was mistaken. Yeah. I was mistaken for a dude when I was a child on the phone.
Yeah.
The only difference is I can't hit a high note now, but I don't care. Why would I be hitting high notes? That's the only difference I've really noticed. I've never gotten the scratchy throat. My voice didn't drop, like, but now I get all the, Anavar voice. Like, I got those comments before I ever used Anavar.
Oh my gosh. Well, Austin did this.
A pretty big role in that too, the virilization.
Say what?
So genetics play a pretty big role in the virilization, because there are some women who can 100%. Take some insane amount of things and not really have a lot of effects, and then there's some women who do, you know, 5 milligrams of Primo and their hair falls out. So
wow.
Yeah. And like it also varies how much you need and how well you respond to it. And that doesn't even necessarily correlate with whether or not you get more virilization effects. Like I seem to have responded really well to low doses of androgens, and I don't seem to virilize. Like I'll get a little bit more skin issues, but that's about it.
My wife keeps her test like over 300, and she doesn't really ever have any problems. But anytime she tries anything outside of that, Primo or anything else, she starts having problems. So it's just about finding, just like always, right? It's all about finding what works for your body chemistry.
And we have to remember, like, it's just like when guys talk about like the health risks building up over time with high doses, like we don't have to worry so much about the health risks as long as we manage it intelligently. But our thing that we have to worry about is the virilization and the masculinization. So just like how the time starts ticking, like it's a ticking time bomb once guys start using high doses before you start having health problems. It's the same for us. As soon as we start, like that's the timer is counting down to when it's going to have virilization effects. So you have to manage it wisely, not bring it in too early, give yourself plenty of runway and give yourself plenty of time off, and manage your doses appropriately so you can carry it as long as you need to reach whatever goal you're trying to use it for before you run out of runway as far as what you're willing to tolerate with virilization, because it's going to come.
Mm-hmm.
That's the good thing about having a clitoris, because that's like, you know, basically putting a thermometer on virilization effects. You can see very clearly what's going on there.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. So, Tanya, I'm going to, first off, before I pull this up, because this is freaking awesome, let's just get a backstory for the audience that doesn't know you, because I find you magnetic. I think that your story is awesome. Let's talk a bit about where you came from, what got you into fitness, and what landed you into where you are today. And I'm also going to be pulling up this IG reel once you get talking to show what it looked like while you were doing 7 years of training when you had quote unquote HRT that we talked about yesterday early on, like many years ago, and what they had put you on. And then once you began HRT, the dramatic difference, like, holy shit, it was insane.
Yeah.
Right. So let's start off with, like, how'd you get into fitness and then ultimately bodybuilding, and then, hey, I want to be a coach?
Well, I mean, I got into fitness probably for similar ways that most females did, as I just wanted to look better and change my body when I was, in my late teens, early 20s. So I did all the stupid bullshit that women get led to do in, the early aughts type of time. There was really no representation for bodybuilding as a whole, especially not for females. Like, I started getting interested in bodybuilding way before social media bodybuilding was a thing. I discovered bodybuilding of all places on tumblr.com. That was where I kind of started seeing my first like muscular females and like women who lifted weights and were muscular and defined. And I was like, oh, that's fucking beautiful. Like, I think that's what I want to do. Right. So I started like learning more and I just got obsessed with it. It just was like an art form to me, pretty much. It was like expressing what I felt like on the inside outside is kind of how I view it. So I just kind of got obsessed with it from there and learned more and more from there. Got into like, got my first secondhand weights and like did shit at home and stuff like that. Started getting into nutrition, started like getting into macros and calories and like micromanaging all that stuff. And around 2014, 15, I started discovering people like Lane Norton, Eric Helms, people who were scientists in the bodybuilding space and nutrition space. And I was like, oh, I didn't know people did that as a career. Like, you could go to college and actually build a career off that. So that's when I decided to start going to school. And my goal was to eventually be one of those people. Like, I wanted to be a bodybuilding physiologist and do research in bodybuilding and get my PhD and go all the way with it. Right. So that's why I went all the way with my master's degree, across several different schools. So it took me like 8 years to do that. But by the time I got through grad school, got through my master's degree and everything, I was like, but research is never going to be for us. It's never going to be for the specific niche population that I am obsessed with and interested in and a part of, and that I want to service with this type of research, without me fighting tooth and nail to do the type of research I want to do for the rest of my life. I was like, I don't think I want to spend my life doing that. So I kind of came to the conclusion that the real research that's ever going to happen, the highest quality research we're ever going to get, is going to happen in coaching. So that's why I was like, okay, like, I finally came around to the idea, like, I never wanted to coach. And I finally came around to the idea that, like, this is really the only way that this type of research is going to be done. And this type of knowledge is going to be gained. And collaboration is going to be done. So I started getting into coaching in 2023 after I graduated. And by that time, I knew so much, but I was new to coaching. So it's just been a matter of trying to build my roster from there. But as far as my interest in bodybuilding and competition, it was always in the back of my mind of it, like, I do want to either do that or look like that, right? So it kind of came in and out as a priority. Like, I dabbled with powerlifting for the first few years as well. I did the power building thing when that was the popular thing. That's where my middle back density came from, for sure, because I was squatting and deadlifting with my lower back, not my legs. And so, I kind of dabbled in that for a while, but, the ultimate goal, became around 2017, 18-ish. I was like, okay, I'm obviously not a genetic freak. And I understand at this point, I cannot maximize both things. So I have to choose the thing that is most important to me, which was bodybuilding, obviously. So that first shot is 2019. That was
Why
just
does
one
this
of my
seem so
first check-ins with
fast?
my coach. I do not know. Well, the old ones I had sped up.
Oh, is that what it is? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and
We'll
then
keep
the new
There we go.
shots are regular speed. But so that is when I had already been training for like 7 or 8 years.
Yeah, that's
in
what
the
I wanted
first
to get
shot.
to. I actually thought these were like completely before and after. And I'd like to talk about why you weren't getting the gains you felt that you should have been getting in those 7 years.
Yeah, because I was probably hypogonadal and hypothyroid for maybe my whole entire life.
Mm-hmm.
Up until I finally got to a competent endocrinologist who took me seriously and used reference ranges that were not military TRICARE provided and was like, yeah, this isn't okay. We need to fix this.
I love
But
that shot.
basically, you know, when I was in high school, I went through eating disorders and they put me on birth control as a fucking solution because that's what they do.
Mm-hmm.
So like I had lost my period because I was fucking starving myself, but their solution was, oh, just get on birth control. It'll regulate your period. So that was the first round of that medical malpractice that I went through. For 5 years, I was on birth control. So just chemical
That's
castration,
Yep.
no chance to establish a good hormonal cycle at all. Got off of that in my early 20s for a few years and got into fitness and dieting and everything, and then got into basically trying to be lean all the time. That's why I basically had no muscle even by 2019, is because that was when body recomposition was the trend, which is basically just dieting all the time. Like I was eating like the calories I'm eating right now at the end of prep, I was eating less than this all the time for like 2 or 3 years straight.
Yeah.
With an occasional refeed, and I thought that was calorie cycling and doing both at the same time.
And
So whatever muscle I had by that first shot was just what survived over those 7 or 8 years of initial training.
Right.
And I hired my coach in 2019 because in 2017 my body pretty much crashed out after staying in that super lean state for over 2 years. Like completely crashed out. Like people say like it's very hard to get overtrained. I can actually say I have been overtrained before, because that's what happens. Your body literally makes you stop in every conceivable way. That happened.
Immune system.
And so the way that I decided to address that was, okay, I know I need to gain weight and try to fix this. I know that I'm starving my hormones and that's why my body crashed out. But I don't trust myself to do it while tracking. So I tried intuitive eating. And intuitive eating got me from 110, 115 pounds in 2017 to 9 months later, almost 170 pounds. And that was without binging or really being particularly full once. That's just, if you let me eat to my appetite and not track, that's just where my body goes. Like I'm a fat person naturally.
Yeah, and
so,
you're short too, and we're gonna look at some of your yeah. I mean,
170 pounds at 5'2" is not cute.
Yeah, I want to look at these most excuse me most recent prep pics. You're looking great here, and you don't even have the tan yet. Wow, I mean, look at this. Let's increase this a bit in size. You're right there. You're what, 9 days out until stage day. And what the audience may not know, and I didn't know until we talked yesterday, this is your first show. And I wanted to ask
because of
you,
all this bullshit
where
that
is
I'm
it?
talking about.
Where is it?
In Columbus, Georgia, which is right here where I live. Next Saturday. It is right on the edge of Alabama. So
how you
it's
feel
called
about
the
it? You nervous?
Tri-City.
You nervous about it?
Yeah, I mean, of course, because it's the first one and it's been such a long time coming. So it's a lot of anticipation that has been built. Like when I hired my coach in 2019, after all that was after almost a year that I had spent pulling that extra weight off, because I was like, okay, I still don't have a period and I'm obese now. So fuck this. I'm losing this weight because this is obviously not working, and I'd rather have no period and not hate myself every day, right? So that, when I got to that point in 2019, was after pulling off the majority of that weight, and I was down to like the high 120s by that point. And I had hired my coach. I was like, we're gonna finish out this, like getting this weight off, and then I need you to make me gain quality tissue, because I know how to do it, but I need somebody else to tell me to do it. because up until that point, I had not had an intentional growth phase in a surplus ever. And that's what I knew that I needed to be competitive. So this was even before, like, I was still hypogonadal, hypothyroid. I still didn't get on HRT or thyroid replacement for another couple of years.
In these pics here? Wow.
Yes.
Holy shit.
So it still took time. Like, I still continued to try to do it naturally, to get my hormonal cycle back. And it seems like just the abuse that my body had been through up until that point and what I was still asking of it, there was no way it was not going to do it naturally. And I just kind of came to terms with that fact and finally, like, linked up with a referral for a good endocrinologist, got on HRT, started managing that, got on thyroid replacement, and finally got those up to a healthy level for maybe the first time in my whole fucking life. And from there, I also started taking GH around that time, soon after starting HRT, because I figured out on my own that I also have hypermobility syndrome, which usually comes comorbid with insufficiency of growth hormone. Okay. So I started supplementing that a couple years before I actually went fully enhanced, which was in 2024. I had been using growth hormone already for a couple of years, and that actually significantly improved my quality of life as far as hypermobility. But yeah, so I didn't get on HRT or thyroid replacement until about 2022.
What did it help you with the hypermobility?
I stopped having to sleep wearing knee sleeves because I would wake up at night with my knees feeling like somebody had done surgery on them overnight, because there's so much laxity in my joints because of the lack of connective tissue that normal people have, that when I relax enough, like when you go to sleep, you relax and your joints kind of loosen up a little bit. When that happens to a hypermobile person, the joints are literally coming apart a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, wow, that sucks.
And it feels like that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm familiar with it. Not for myself, but do you have like POTS symptoms too? Which is like,
I don't, fortunately. I do not have, like, I only have hypermobility symptoms. I don't have any of the POTS symptoms. I have worked with clients before who do have it though. And that's a bitch to manage for sure. But no, I don't seem to have the POTS syndromes at all.
I got the POTS syndromes right here. Some indica as we keep going. Oh my god, I dropped it. That sucks.
Me too.
Actually,
so
guys,
is like, it's like an intolerance. It's like an intolerance to activity because your body literally doesn't react to adrenaline the way that it's supposed to, and it's impossible for you to get your blood pressure up to an active level. Sometimes for just basic activity, depending on the extremity of the POTS symptoms that people have.
I have the inverse problem. Like, so that's that drug doxazosine I've mentioned. It's like exactly that. It blocks your body's response to adrenaline. So I happen to wonder, like, if there's some connection there with that to POTS. You know, we don't need to go down that road, but like, it's like, why is it a production issue of not making enough noradrenaline and adrenaline? Or is
I don't know. I do know that, I mean, hypermobility often comes comorbid with hormonal dysfunction, just broadly, and we don't really know why.
It makes sense. You know, hormones sensitize you to those things, like noradrenaline, dopamine.
Okay, I wanted to go ahead and get a look at your recent prep picks, and I also would like for both Mike and Austin, as coaches, to just give you an honest, no bullshit assessment. Now that you're a week out or 9 days, really.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, let's take a look here, guys. What do you think? I'm not obviously a judge or anything. When I first saw Sam Sulik's posing routine, I'm like, damn, that's sweet. And you guys are like, no, it was horrible. So don't take my word for it.
I'll defer to Mike. I don't know this category.
For women's physique.
Yeah.
I tell you, Tanya has a frame built for that division. I mean, there's no better place for her. And she's made so many.
I'm lucky because it's my favorite. It's my favorite division too. It's the one that I always like the most. So I'm lucky that I fell into it well.
She's built perfect, and she's got those long quad insertions that always do so well with the judges.
It helps that I have really short legs.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yep.
I have short legs and a long torso, so that's an advantage.
And it matches your calves too. So many people, I mean, it's just calves are tough to build if you don't have the genetics for them.
And
yeah,
because
that's another
most people
reason
just
why
don't
judges.
know. Most people
Go
don't know
ahead.
how to train calves properly and don't have the pain tolerance to train calves properly. And I've been training calves properly for 7 years now, and I
Yeah.
finally have good calves because I did not before.
Like 2 or 3 times a week. Do you do them often?
Yeah, like as frequently as any other muscle group, usually twice a week. And the big thing about it is you have to pause in the bottom and you have to really emphasize the stretch to negate the tension from the Achilles tendon.
Yeah. I hit them so often. Like I find the more I do them, like the better results I got, provided I'm not like losing strength. Yeah, Zionic. I did see the puns. I didn't adequately call them out because I didn't see all the comments live.
He couldn't. He was having a hard time with the comments yesterday. He felt bad afterwards.
Yeah. Tanya can attest. Mike can attest.
Yeah, it was a good show. I caught the last like 20 minutes.
What was I talking about? Oh, I forget.
Calves.
Oh, calves. Yeah. Provided I'm not losing strength every other day for calves is like what gave me the biggest progress. I went from like, I don't know, 14 to like 8, I don't know, 18 or something like that.
Oh, wow, man.
Not very much time.
Big ass gain.
Yeah. In like a year and a half too.
Nice.
Eddie Hall's never changed his calves, he said. Never trained them.
Some people just don't need to.
Calves are like this.
We hate them.
Calves are so much genetic that local shows, like I've had NPC judges tell me this, like they don't even really look at your calves.
Yeah, really?
There's not really that much you can do about it.
Yeah.
I mean, when you get to the higher levels or become a professional bodybuilder, like symmetry is a big part of your score. So, you know, if you have calves that are not symmetrical, that can really hurt you. But at a local show, she's probably going to have the best calves of all the girls there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because I mean, to me, it's like if it's going to matter eventually, to me, that means it matters now.
Yep. Show her from the back.
Yeah, oh yeah, we're getting there.
Yeah.
There we go.
She's worried about her abs coming in too. She's right there. I mean, that's like, I wouldn't worry about that.
It's just because my biggest battle is this lower stomach. Like, I don't even I want to call it distension, but I don't have digestive issues. I have zero gut issues.
Right
that
here?
is like, you have no idea how fucking hard I have to pull my waist in to look like that.
Really? I mean, it's
from like if I just naturally look like I'm starting to show all the time if I am not really violently pulling my waist in.
Wow.
Are you doing
yeah, that's crazy.
Transverse abdominal work?
I do vacuums every fucking day and I have for years.
Yeah.
I do all the things, absolutely everything.
Do you feel like you're really connecting with your abs when you're pulling those in? Like I know when I'm doing
I can get a full vacuum, yeah.
The most challenging way for me to do them is on my hands and knees, right?
Yeah.
Fighting gravity as much as I can. And I feel like when I hold when I feel the bottom come in, I can hold there for a while and it gets sore. But what I figured out is that when I feel that at the bottom, then it's time to just keep going a little harder into it. And I can kind of feel the top start to lay flat right after it. And so like after training them for a while, I was able to like achieve some new depth like that.
Yeah. And then when I'm watching, when I was watching the Arnold live stream and like these ignorant fucking comments of people who don't know anything about bodybuilding, you know, talking shit on Knit Walker, like, oh, does he just intentionally not hold his waist in out of spite? And it's like, man, like I feel for him. Like I know how hard it is to have to, like when you really have to fight your waist all the time to pull it in, that shit's so fucking hard. I feel his pain.
Anyone who's grown a lot of weight fast, I feel like has that struggle. And the more weight and muscle you've gained in a short amount of time, like the worse you have that problem. Like,
yeah,
I have it.
And it's
like, I have it something fierce because like I can have abs with like a gut at the same time. Like it
Yeah,
just
and
doesn't
it's like,
matter.
Got veins though.
Mine's not even from overall growth. It's just naturally I'm rectangular. Like my waist right there is 28. My waist is 28 inches.
Yeah.
I don't see
And like
any problem there. This looks
there's
excellent.
girls that have
Yeah, I was gonna say you got vascularity.
There's girls that are like 5'8" and have 40 pounds on me in the off season and have like a 25-inch waist. And I'm like, how the fuck?
25?
Yes.
Holy shit.
There's dudes on stage with a smaller waist than me, and I don't understand.
No kidding.
The smallest my waist has ever been is like 27.
Yeah. Well, you're looking great.
So that just means I have to. That just means I need a big back and legs.
And you're not that unique. Honestly, like it takes a lot of work to pull the midsection in on every pose. Anyway,
yeah.
So you're not alone in that. That's the same for everybody. And you know, some of us have more genetics to fight than others. You know, I wasn't until last year that I ever was able to pull a vacuum at all, and it certainly wasn't an impressive one. So I've had to work hard on my transverse abdominal work because I'm maniacal about it, just like you are, because I don't want to have that blown out gut. But on the backside, her connectors, glute hamstrings are like this. If you look at the shape of them, she's really genetically gifted right there too. She's got just a little more fat to lose right there to sharpen them up for the show. Yeah. But if she gets them to come in, like that's a showstopper right there. So she's gifted with some really good genetics from a few different places. And this is just her first show. She's only going to get
I've learned over the last like year and a half or so, when my development has really come through, like since I've been enhanced, like I've learned that I have really low glute tie-ins, and it's nice.
Yeah.
They go like halfway down my leg.
Yeah. Another genetic gift.
And I do nice. I carry my fat more like a guy. I carry my fat very evenly. I'm not lower, like my lower body isn't the last to come in. My midsection is.
One thing I took away from the experiment I did when I just kept going after I was already diced, like I had glute striations, but I just kept going.
Mm-hmm.
The stomach that I had, for me, it didn't even start to go away until like I was already deep glute striations, and then I kept dying and losing weight, and that's when the stomach went away, and it didn't come back the same way until I bulked again.
Same with me. Yeah, because I've been through plenty of fat loss phases. I've been lean before, just not with this level of muscle, and it's always, every single time, it's my lower stomach is the last part that comes in, for sure.
Yeah.
Which is, part of why we've kept my cardio, pretty low. Just the 3 30-minute sessions a week the whole way, because we want to keep my legs nice and full, because I'm going to have to deplete pretty well to get the water off of my midsection. So we want to keep everything else full instead of pushing a lot of cardio.
That's a good call for sure. Yeah, and as far as the ab like shape goes too, like you don't have like a massive amount of ab development overall, right? So the ab development that I've gotten, I had to fight really hard for, because you wouldn't know it, but that has to do with hypermobility too. Like we struggle to have ab definition, because what creates ab definition? It's the connective tissue that separates them. Yeah.
So my abs can get hard and completely like it feel like it's a wall of muscle, but there's no definition.
Do you train them daily?
I train them twice a week. Heavy, to failure, just as hard as anything else. And I have been for several years now, since I learned about that with hypermobility. And I actually brought that up to my coach. I was like, I think I should be doing some direct, like intentional ab training, because this is apparently a thing. And now I actually have ab definition because I intentionally trained my abs. But I had to like really fight for that. So that little bit of ab definition you see is like so exciting for me, because I've never had that before. I've never had actual muscle bellies in my abs before.
So you're training them under a load?
That's what I was going to ask. Did you change to like hypertrophy training on your abs?
Yeah, 100%. Like cable loaded. cable loaded crunches mostly, and then a rotation of something else that addresses the bottom half.
Mm-hmm.
So when you do like leg races and stuff like that?
Yeah, I did leg raises for a long time. I did something called gar hammer raises for a little bit, which is like, it's like you lay on a bench and it's like leg raises, but it's just your pelvis.
Yeah.
So you're just really, really connecting with that bottom part of your abs. I did that for a little bit. Right now I just have the weighted cable crunches twice a week, and doing a little bit of side crunches for like the upper oblique definition to bring that out a little bit. In addition
Speaking
to like
of
vacuum
abs,
training and stuff that I do on my own.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I got Austin just sent these through. I wanted to show you these ab pictures. It's probably what he's referring to.
Yeah,
like
you can see abs, but just my midsection is thick. Basically, is the look I was just trying to describe.
This next one really shows it right here.
Yeah.
This is like it looks like G Hutch cut almost, right?
Yeah.
Look like the strong man in my gym.
Yeah, he's really thick there. That was before your diet, though. That was like at the peak of your bulk, wasn't it?
It was the peak of a bulk, but I never even dieted after this. I just stopped there, and that's where I am now.
It honestly looks like a photoshopped head on somebody else's body.
It probably is. That's funny. This one too. It does. The way the crease is there in your neck, it's like somebody's cut a freaking picture off and stuck it on you.
Yeah, it makes training for that A-frame just that much harder though when you start with a big waist. I mean, I have the same problem.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean, I get down to a 31 or a 32, in contest prep, but still, when I'm standing on stage next to somebody with a 28 or 29-inch waist, you got to have really big lats.
Yeah. I'm talking like I know.
Speaking of that, you can see mine are asymmetrical there too. See if you guys can spot it.
Everybody's asymmetrical.
See, do you have the pics easy?
Yeah, I'm pulling it up, bro. Hold on.
I want to see what you think.
There's that one pic that I had that Boston Phil picked out when you were doing the front double by. It was very noticeable right here. You can tell right here a little bit. But when he does, you do a front double by, it's like really noticeable. Yeah, I mean it's still noticeable here, but nothing like when you did a front double by.
Yeah, those are the kind of things. If you start competing in Austin, you just have to learn to pose around.
Yeah.
And that was from your surgery, right?
Yeah. No.
I'm like that naturally. So I actually have to like sort of bring my right shoulder forward a little bit more and like all my front facing poses in order to make my lats look more symmetrical. It's just what you learn.
Yeah, I have a ton of imbalances just from, again, hypermobility. Like you end up with a lot of imbalances, and I also have slight scoliosis, which is usually also associated with hypermobility. So like my 1/4 turn is way, way fucking harder than the other one, and I have to do different things in each one. In my back pose, my arms and like my hand position are actually uneven to make my back pose even. Because if I have my arms perfectly even, one shoulder looks differently internally rotated than the other. So it's like a lot of weird little things that I have to do to look even.
Yeah. How much time have you spent talking to Dr. Marv about that stuff?
None, but I would love to.
Yeah, you should reach out to him. I'm going to work with him a little bit on this prep too, just so he can fix some of my posing mobility issues. So.
Yeah.
Before we move on to Tanya's blood work here, we got a bunch of labs to go over. We're going to have a good time with that. Austin's got a few studies to go over as well. I wanted to take this question from Robert Stone. He dropped this, and this is for Austin, actually. I'm going to put this here in the chat and then put it up on the screen. He's asking how long to wait on test and Primo to check your estrogen.
Probably 3 weeks. 2 weeks.
Yeah, because he was I think I cut off the first part of the question that I copied. It had something to do. He was looking to switch to that protocol, the SHBG protocol.
Oh, wait, on test and if he's using injectable E2, 3 weeks.
3 weeks, so still 3 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, don't change the dose for 3 weeks, but don't just wing it. Like, hit me up though, because everybody always picks a dose that's way too high because they use plotter websites thing, and people get between 20 or 18 to 62 picograms per milliliter from 1 milligram. So there's a massive variance there. So you've got to do something special.
Okay. And before we get to Tanya's blood work, what I would like to do is let people know about what you're all about as far as your coaching business. I heard from yesterday at Coach's Corner, you have a new deal going on with $50 a month consulting program. I'd like for you to talk about, okay, as far as what's involved, how do they contact you? What should they expect? Do they have to be bodybuilders? And what about this discount program that you're running?
So, basically, you don't have to be a bodybuilder, but my ideal, what I want to eventually predominate my roster with is either physique athletes or people who just want to treat their goals like a physique athlete, like they have similar goals. Like that's really what I'm obsessed with and what I'm into and what I can do the best work with. So I want to work with those people, and I really get into the weeds with my clients. I go into detail, like I'm really going to dig into it and just be kind of like your accountant for everything that has to do with your fitness and nutrition. So I really like to take people who like that level of detail and want that level of attention and want to invest in that level of attention, right? So I'm really pushing that intensive tier of my coaching, which includes all of that. So that's going to go for anybody who wants to do bodybuilding or take it that seriously. Basically, like I collect the most amount of information from you, the most amount of biofeedback. Lab consideration comes with that. Like I can evaluate your labs. I'm really good with lab work and making recommendations off of that. If you want PED cycles managed, like that's going to be on the intensive tier. So that's like the tier of coaching that I'm really pushing because I want to predominate it with that. But I also coach general population people who have much more casual goals, just want to get fitter and healthier, right? And that's a much lower level. That's like half the level of investment. So I have different pricing tiers depending on how deep you want to go into it and how much attention that you want, right? And I'm also really like my strength, really, I like to dig into people's training quality. So the biggest changes I usually make with clients is improving their training. Like I'm really, really good with engineering training to be better for hypertrophy and fixing people's training. So I do WhatsApp video review of all my clients' training if I do handle their training. So if they aren't in person, because I do have a few people who are local, but if they aren't local, I see their training via WhatsApp all the time. And the people who send the most WhatsApp videos and send the most training videos always progress the best.
Sure.
Because you can have a great program, but if you're not executing it well, it's not going to do much, right? So I really hone in on that. I really nail in on that for anybody whose training I'm handling, because I also do nutrition only coaching for some people. So I'll do nutrition only or training only, and that's a little bit of a lower price tier. And that comes with, for most people, every other week check-in. So I like the every other week cadence. That's what I've always done with my coach, and I feel like it works kind of well. So unless you're on prep, then we go to once a week throughout prep. But general, most people are every other week check-ins. You have your check-in form with all your data and everything, and you have a set of check-in questions, and you get your feedback from me, and I'm very in-depth and detailed. Like you're not going to get a one-sentence email back from me. Like I spend probably a good hour per check-in for most of my clients. So, and then the $50 thing that you were mentioning is something I'm trying to push a little bit more, because I would love to get more people on with this. Is I'll just review your training, unlimited training video review for $50 a month. I'm not going to program for you. Like you got to get like on one of the coaching tiers for that if you want to do that, or just buy a one-time, because I do consultations as well. So you can like book a consult, do a one-time training program, do a one-time lab review, whatever you want to do. But if you want just training review and improvement to your training, the way that I do with my clients all the time, you can invest in just that for $50 a month, and I'll do that.
Right. Well, that's freaking awesome. And all her links are in the description box, including her Linktree, as well as my corners. We'll get with him a little bit later. Everybody's going to get a chance to talk about what they do. And I just wanted you guys to hear about what Tanya offers. And I was actually kind of surprised about this, because one thing that she didn't mention is that most of her, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't you say about half or more than half of your clients are actually men?
Yeah. My first ever client was a guy, and I actually had mostly male clients for quite a while. I have a pretty good split now. I think it's about 50-50, but I get along. I communicate with men really well. I always have, like, my whole life. I've ended up in male-dominated spaces, and just that's always been a strength for me for some reason, was getting along with guys. So that has translated just as I expected it to in coaching. That seems to be the personality type that I get along with really well. And the girls that I get along with are usually other weird girls. So
yeah, it's the direct forwardness. It's the direct forward and being just authentic and blunt that makes you probably get along with men so much easier. And women that are like you get along with you as well. You know?
And, you know, I've also, like, I've really been a student of bodybuilding this whole time. Like, when I get into something, I get into it 100%, and it's the only thing that I care about. So, like, and bodybuilding is a male dominated industry. So most of the greatest, you know, most well-renowned and most competent coaches have been men. So I've been listening to a lot of men and learning from a lot of men over my years in bodybuilding, because I've been listening and learning the whole time. So I just ended up knowing everything about the male side of bodybuilding and becoming really competent in that. And it's like, it's not that different. Like, it is different for females, but if you understand the basic concepts and you understand how they're different, you can translate it easily.
Well, I'm sure you can, but not for me. That sounds great. So, yeah, guys, again, you'll be able to see her links in the description box. Please check her out. Sub up to her IG. We are going to get into Tanya's blood work and start talking about what she's got here. This is going to be a good time. Oh, and by the way, if you're watching right now and you haven't hit that like button, please do. Don't forget to drop comments on the comment board. We're a very small channel, 260-something subs, and we're coming to you every week. We're looking to bring a good podcast every Thursday for you guys. All we ask, hit that thumbs up and help us out. All right, let's get into the blood work. Let's see what we're looking at here, Tanya. All right, this here is from March 25, the end of a cycle. Okay, so what are we looking at here? We got your bun, creatinine 21 high. Okay, this was back on 113, drawn on 113/2025. And what are we looking at here? The end of the cycle. Okay, good. Albumin 5.1. ASTL, ALT, typically high, not, you know.
Yeah.
Those are these training, during training or with a break from training?
I usually try to go after one rest day. I don't like overthink it and like try to do it after multiple, because I don't want to fuck up my week schedule just for a lab, but I do try to go after a rest day. So that's usually what it is.
Right. Yeah. No, the ALT and AST would come down more than in that case.
Like, yeah, probably.
I've seen them,
and that
going like after
that cholesterol. Yeah, that cholesterol is actually the lowest I have ever seen it in my whole entire life. That 259 is more like where I would sit naturally. That was after the first time I started using red yeast rice CoQ10. So this is literally this is after a cycle that I did use orals. And that's the lowest cholesterol.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
Yes. Because I just genetically have higher cholesterol. Like, I'll just run it in the high 200s. I always have, no matter what. And my diet's great. Like, that's just in my family. So it actually brought it down to the lowest I've ever seen it in my life.
I think a lot of that was lost from the HDL too.
Yeah.
So that's probably a major part of that. Of it.
Yeah. Yeah, because 48 is low for me for HDL.
Yeah. And these are proxy tests too. So like they're not actually, the LDL isn't being calculated directly.
Yeah.
On these. It's so much of this understanding this blood work stuff is like just understanding the limitations of the tests, because they were developed around, you know, natural states basically, and just atypical things, and they could just have their limitations through the chemistry involved. But wow, that's I'm looking at this TSH now, like that's interesting.
Yeah, so this was, remember I was saying this is when I noticed that it was starting to be off, was in early 2025. That's when I was like, whoa, this is not what it looked like the last time I looked at my thyroid. So that's when I started messing with my dose from there.
How long in between? So the previous date result is January 2025. When is this 7.96?
115, I believe
know.
it was. Yeah, it was 150 or 113 rather. Or no. I'm sorry, it's up top.
That's
I
the
saw
previous.
it. Date
March.
collected 331. Yeah, so March 31st.
Not that long after.
Yeah.
Wow. Interesting. I mean,
I will say that was a particularly stressful time in my life, the beginning of 2025. So I'm sure that had something to do with it, but it did not. It still continued to be a problem for the majority of the year until I got my dose up enough to where it was back in range.
Right. And how'd you feel?
I mean, it was hard to tell because I also was going through a whole lot of stress at the time, so I was kind of feeling shitty anyway, but probably not good.
Check what is it called? It's the thyroid peroxidase, or one of the, it's either that one or one of the other thyroid markers that shows, like, I think the receptors get attacked, and there's a test for it, and like I believe T4 is actually what signals in the pituitary to like produce negative feedback. Like some of those cells like T3 is active, but some cells types and tissues don't like to take in T3. They like to take in T4 and then convert locally into T3. And I think that's where, like, in large part, the negative feedback is, but I haven't really played around with it in the real world to see exactly that.
All right, so moving on down. Let's see. Iron was back down in the range. Your your testosterone here, total T, only 249, which is not too bad at all. I've seen actually as high, a woman recently on HRT at 468, running 25 milligrams oxandrolone, and she wasn't virilizing, and she's been on it for like a long time. Some people, it's just crazy. I mean, most men would be at 468. Their doctor would be like, "You're totally fine."
Yeah,
right?
This was this was at the very end of a cycle of NPP, and during the last 3 or 4 weeks, a low dose of anadrol added.
Okay. Your free test jumped big time. Both jumped big time, huh?
And that was only like 70-ish total milligrams a week at the peak.
Okay. Progesterone actually dropped a hair.
I really struggle getting my progesterone up.
Oh yeah, we talked about this too.
Yeah.
A lot of
that's
people
actually like that's the highest I've really managed to get it.
0.4.
Yeah. And you're taking the oral progesterone, right?
Yeah.
Yep. And most people don't know this, but progesterone doesn't behave in the same way as estradiol and testosterone would. Their progesterone is lymphatically absorbed when you use it transdermally through the skin or through a pill. So it actually doesn't elevate the serum levels in the same way that estradiol and testosterone would. But if you use injectable progesterone, then it will. It's just kind of a quirk of the hormone. So you can basically with the takeaway from that is like you can have not significantly elevated progesterone levels if you're taking oral or transdermal, and that's kind of expected. It doesn't necessarily mean at the tissue level you're not getting the effect. It means you probably.
That's what I was going to ask. Is it still like, can we basically disregard the blood level then, because it should still be having the tissue effect as long as, so basically go more by symptoms?
Yes. Yeah. Or switch to injectable too.
Okay.
You know, one of the two. I don't know the difference in practice because I haven't really taken a lot of progesterone, but usually it just makes me tired and flat.
Well, I certainly don't want it to make me flat.
No, not flat muscle wise, but like flat in
just flat emotionally. Okay.
Yeah, like not depressed, but like blunted a little bit.
My progesterone is actually a 0.6.
It's higher than mine.
But you know, everybody's different. I was running high dose nandrolone for a long time on top of tren.
Yeah, it's probably cross detection.
It could be, right?
Yeah.
So here we go. Oh yeah, we wanted to, what am I doing here? We wanted to get back to date collected. Here we got your October 25 end of cycle. Okay, and we go all the way up to January of 2026. Her most recent labs haven't come in yet, but next time Tanya's on after her show, we will have those labs for her most recent cycle to look at. So here we go. We got your bun here. It's still looks, I forget what the other one was, but it looks typical, right? I mean, then we get down here, free test. Testosterone was at 56, which is within range, actually. Free test a little up here at 5.6. Let's see. Estradiol at 88, within range, no problem. And this was post-cycle, huh? Wow.
We'll go to the GGT.
No, this was this was it post? Oh yeah, so this was the
post cycle, of October. So
this
25.
was the post. This was post the Primo Ace cycle.
Okay, your progesterone jumped up to 0.9 here.
I think that was when I finally got I had gotten up to 200 micrograms and got it up that high. That's the highest I've ever gotten it.
Oh, good.
That's not uncommon with progesterone orally. So like,
and Austin, you wanted to look at the GGT?
Yeah. So that's interesting. Do you know how long you had been using the Primo Ace here?
That cycle was, I think, 8 weeks, and let me look at my notes. So by the beginning of September, I had gotten a replacement vial to see if it was just the vial, because I was struggling to even maintain pinning frequency. So I was kind of in and out of replacing some of the milligrams with Anavar because I just couldn't pin anymore with that Primo. And then the new vial I started like the second week of September, and it was a little bit better, but then it started having the same effect. By 9/18, I almost couldn't pin again. I completely took it out by the end of, so 9/29, I completely took it out and just did 55 milligrams of Anavar per week to finish the cycle.
Yeah. So I was super pumped to hear about this and bring this up because Primo Ace is like, people think of that as oral Primo, but it's a steroid ester just like anything else. So it can technically be suspended in oil. Just the reason why it's not, and you never see it, is because it freaking hurts. Like it destroys people. And
I'm gonna go grab my other drink really quick that I can still hear you.
And I've gotten a fever actually from walking around and doing that just in a few doses because of, as you see, like if you pull up her blood work, her HSCRP is 26 point something. So that's exactly what you see with the dihydroboldenone claim that I'm always talking about.
So you said fever, right? Like I didn't necessarily, I did not get a fever because I was actually testing my temperature because I started feeling like kind of fever-ish, you know, that hot skin feeling like when you get a fever. And I was testing my temperature because I was like, is this because it's a bad shot? Am I getting an infection? So I was testing my temperature. I never got like a fever. It wasn't really that elevated, but my Oura ring did tell me that my body temperature went up overnight for an extended period of time while I was dealing with that.
Yep. So that's the acute phase reactants like of the immune system in general, like HSCRP, the different interleukins, which are basically the hormones of the immune system, and those will produce those effects that tell your body temperature to go up and cause those like weird skin feeling effects, like that painful skin sensation that you get when you're getting sick. Those are from those.
It even gave me high blood pressure, and I've never had high blood pressure in my life.
Yep. Yeah. They cause vasoconstriction on purpose intentionally because when you have injury to cells, like that's advantageous at the first part to.
I freaked out because I thought I gave myself high blood pressure with nicotine use, and so I was like coming off of nicotine all at the same time, and that was stressing me out because now I have no dopamine in my system, and it turned out it wasn't that at all.
Yeah.
Do you want to pull up our labs again?
Yeah, so I'm going right here. You want to go back to the previous ones we were just looking at?
Yeah, the ones with the high elevated. Okay, the C-reactive protein. Scroll up a little bit.
Right here, yeah.
So you see GGT. This is another like thing that I've tested and linked the two of these together, GGT and C-reactive protein. When this is sustained elevation for like months, probably like over 4 weeks, you start to see GGT go up also. And it's not necessarily indicative that there's like a serious problem when you see a C-reactive protein that high and that's it, but nothing else around it looks weird because it's a acute phase protein. It can go up really fast and down really fast. So there's a better marker to test, and it's called glyce A. And when your immune system's activated, C-reactive protein is one of those acute chemical messengers, and that inflammatory state produces these glycosylated byproducts, basically, and they're byproducts of the effect that inflammatory state has. So I've made this analogy that glyce A is to C-reactive protein as hemoglobin A1C is to glucose. So it's like a more sustained long-term view picture of what's going on. And GGT seems to be possibly linked in there too. It's made in the liver. HSC, it's high sense C-reactive protein is made in the liver too. So glyce A is the test. If you're checking HSCRP, I suggest to check that. Shout out Merick Health for putting that on my panel for me.
There you go.
Yeah, shout out. Hey, I have a affiliate discount code with them, and it's Blunt Force Tanya, same as my Instagram name.
Oh, cool.
That'll be in the box, guys.
I don't get a kickback from it yet at all. You just get a discount, but if enough people use that code, eventually I can have an actual relationship with them and have like custom panels and stuff. So
that's on your Linktree, right? Is that on your? Yeah. Okay. Yep. So just hit that Linktree, guys. You'll be able to get a discount from Merick for blood work.
Yeah.
You're kind of quiet, Tanya. When you lean forward like that, you're ahead of your mic.
Okay. Thank you.
There you go.
Much better.
Okay, moving along here. This is here. What is this? January 26th, End Bridge.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that cholesterol, that's just where that's good for me, actually, low 200. So I wasn't worried about that.
Yep. Very good. Everything's fine. Okay, high on this, on HDL cholesterol. Testosterone free. Here we go. There's what I want to look at. Sex hormone 68, still looking good. Testosterone free 1.7. Test bioavailable 3.5. Albumin 4.6. Looking pretty good, Tanya.
Yep, that's my good TRT numbers.
Yeah, and right here we got 6/16/25. So we are getting later into the year of 2025. You do a lot of blood work, huh? Okay, so let's see. What do we got?
I usually try to do one at the end of a bridge and then one at the end of a cycle.
Oh, what the fuck?
Just to kind of see the best and the worst,
Yeah.
Yeah. Why did you redact the GGT?
I have no idea. I don't even know if I can unredact it. That's all right. So anyways, progesterone 1.2.
Oh, okay, I guess I keep lying. 1.2 is the greatest I've ever gotten.
It jumped
I
3
don't, still not
times.
that high.
It jumped 3
I
times.
just never.
Wow.
I just never expect
4 times,
much out of it
3
at all. So
yeah. I don't know. I think everything got redacted by accident on this one. TSH. This is what we wanted to look at anyway. And this one is, there we go. Okay.
And this is on, you know, and you're on thyroid medications here, right?
yeah. So this is where it's at currently with the improvements in the dosing that I made over 2025.
Yeah.
I want to see what happens. I want to see you try sublingual dosing of it. And
can you just do that with the normal tablets?
Yeah, they dissolve like the trick to getting stuff to dissolve under your tongue is like if you've had anything to eat or drink within like 30 minutes, it's not going to work right. You're going to like produce a bunch of saliva and then it's not going to absorb. But
well, you can't do that with thyroid anyway.
Yeah. Well, it will absorb even when you've eaten with this way. Like the whole tablet will just be like gone in like 20 minutes if you're, you know, don't start making a bunch of spit, because then it won't absorb. You know, it sounds nasty, but basically any tablet will dissolve that way. And I'm curious to see if it's like because of the finicky absorption or it's like some other thing going on, because I've had one other person try this and I've seen the issue before where she was on thyroid, just T3, and her free T3 was kind of dropping and TSH was going up, despite increasing the dose too. And I think I don't remember following up with her on the sublingual and like if she stayed on it for a while or not, but it did, I think, start to help. And for me, I was getting crazy high T3 levels from not very much T3 at all.
Speaking of T3, now we're looking at her T3 from the same date.
Yeah. That's her total her free T3 could be sky high though, potentially.
Yeah.
With that. I mean, you wouldn't expect
these are my endocrinologist labs, so I was kind of just at the mercy of what she wanted to order.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So that's
I save where I can. If I know she's going to do a thyroid test, I don't order it on my merick order.
if for sure that your free T3 is low too, like, or is it total?
Not necessarily on every test. It like I said, it depends on what she orders. When I do my own labs, I try to get the free T3, but I just have that from the most recent one.
How does that look? How does your free T3 look?
I honestly don't remember, but I think it was also wacky during 2025. Like, I don't think it was high enough.
It'd be interesting to check because totals, like, I don't know. I've been on everywhere from 200 micrograms of T4 to, 50, and I've seen my totals not budge. But yeah, it's kind of, I don't know why exactly that is, but.
Okay, we got a question here, and before we move on, from Zionic. What up, brother? Remember I used to call you Zoniac for like 2-3 months? And it never dawned on me. I was like, wait a minute, that's Zionic. Good to see you, brother. Tanya, going into your first show, what are you most hyped about? And what's the part of you're exactly excited to deal with or stressed about?
Stressed about is just posing well on stage and keeping my waist in really well. That's the thing that's probably on my mind the most. Most excited about is just making my debut, basically, and just presenting what has been anticipated for so long. And it feels good to finally be seen for what I do and how much work I put into something. Like, I've been waiting for a really, really long time to get the recognition that I'm starting to get right now. And it feels like on one hand, it's like, well, about fucking time. And then on the other hand, it's like I do have that imposter syndrome. So it's like I think that I'll be able to get over a lot of that once I make this step, right? Because it feels like it feels like I should have made this step a long time ago, because it's like I'm not new here, but it feels like I have this imposter syndrome about like, whoa, but you've never competed, blah blah blah, and like. So it'll feel nice to have that behind me for sure. And I'm also really excited about my coach is going to be here for it. Like he's flying from Colorado to be here for this just fucking NPC show, and that's a big deal to me because it's just
that is awesome.
A local, like it's just a local show, right? But it's like this thing that we've built up to for 7 years. Like I hired him in 2019, and I was like, "This is what I want to do," but I'm not interested in showing up on stage until I belong there. So as long as that takes is as long as it takes.
Well, I have a question for all three coaches here on stage. Okay. Real quick question here. What's your favorite prep meal or most underrated supplement? Let's start with Austin up in the corner, and then we'll go down to Tanya and Mike.
Shout out Dr. Todd Lee with his pasta and meat sauce. I got that from him.
Oh yeah.
So that, and then just like something massively bulky and fibrous, like I don't know, rice cauliflower or something. Popsicles, that's the key. Actually,
I love popsicles.
You need the sugar-free.
Wow.
You need the sugar-free popsicles, the tropical ones.
Then you fart like all night long.
From the sugar alcohol.
Yeah,
but then your stomach's not even moving because you're so dieted, so you don't even get that.
So Tanya, how about you?
Can I go with, do I have to go with a low day prep meal, or can I go with my favorite high day prep meal? Because remember, I've had high days the entire time. We'll go with both. My favorite, I'll go with my high day favorite because it's the same as during off season. So I came up with a smoked salmon bagel dupe that's like macro friendly. So you know how like you have the smoked salmon with the cream cheese on the bagel, right? How they do that, right? With the red onions. So I do everything sourdough bread from Aldi, like the thin slices, which I'm addicted to. I get like 8 loaves every time I go in case they run out and I freeze them. So everything sourdough bread, and instead of the cream cheese, I do fat-free Greek yogurt, and I just put all the seasonings that you would want on that. So I'll put like, you know, the sesame seeds, dill, paprika. I'll put the red onions in there, a little bit of soy sauce, ginger, whatever. Put that on there, put the smoked salmon on top, and then brown that in the pan. I'm addicted to it. I would have it every day if it wasn't so expensive, but I only have it on my high days. So that, and then a side of the Alexia sweet potato fries, because they're a lot lower fat. So you can get a pretty good amount of volume out of there. And I make a chocolate dipping sauce for it with the Greek yogurt and some cocoa powder and sweetener and stuff. Dip the sweet potato fries in that. That's my favorite on the high days. And I still have had that. I've maintained being able to fit that into my numbers the entire time. For low days, probably my first meal, because I still have room for the everything sourdough with eggs and cheese, fat-free cheese, of course, and then a side of fruit. But probably that meal because I still get to have my sourdough.
Look at how you're smiling and so happy when you're talking about it too. You're like this.
Yeah. And that's the same in the off season. I love my meals. Like I make all of my meals according to my macros, and it's the same things every day, but I love all of them.
Right.
So it's the same exact meals that are my favorite. It's just I get to have a lot more of it during the off season, and I get to have, instead of a side of fruit, it'll be like a side of cream of rice, because like cream of rice is not a prep food for me. That's way too many carbs. As soon as I start a diet, rice is out. There's no room for it.
What are you on for calories? Like how many carbs?
On my low days, I'm 1250 to 1350 calories.
Holy shit.
Yeah, so that comes out to about 120 to 130 grams of carbs if I keep my fats real low, which I usually do, like under 25 grams. And then my high days on the weekend are 2,000 to 2,100 on day 1 and 18 to 1,900 on day 2. And that's what it's been throughout the last half or so of prep, with the exception of a couple weeks ago I had a higher refeed day on that day one. I had a 2,600 calorie day, so I got like 420 grams of carbs that day.
How have you noticed your baseline, like in what you need to diet, has changed from like what it used to be compared to now that you've like entered into those surplus phases and built your metabolism up?
Honestly, not a lot.
Damn.
What has just changed is how my body processes it and how predictable it is. Like, I've just been able to be leaner and more muscular at the same intake, basically, and the same body weight. The intake itself hasn't really gone up. Like, I've had off seasons 2, 3, 4 years ago that were 2,700 calories, and that's pretty much where I still am when I'm in a growth phase. And
But you're much
I've
leaner
always
now.
had to get just a lot leaner. Like, my body weight hasn't really changed from being pre-trained and pre-bodybuilding to now. It's just a completely different body composition. And I've always had to diet pretty hard to get very lean. Like, it's easier for me now earlier in a diet. I can be on like 1,900 calories, which I've never been able to lose on before. But still, to get to the end of a diet, I still have to get sub 1,400 every time.
Yeah. With me, like, it just, how about you, Mike? Has what you need to diet on changed over time?
It has, yeah. The more preps I do, the more my metabolism can just run away from me.
Mm-hmm. So, the more preps you do.
Yeah. It seems like the longer I stay lean, and every time I prep a little bit, it seems like I can keep a little more food in every time. And there'll be some times when we're throwing, when the last 3-4 weeks we're throwing extra high days in, eating 2 or 3 high days just to stay full. This last contest prep, I kept flattening out, and Paul would be all right, tonight before you go to bed, eat pancakes.
Yeah.
I've never
butter,
experienced...
but lots of syrup, and I'm eating pancakes. He goes, just don't, you don't have to count them. Just eat till you can't eat no more, and then go to bed.
I've never experienced the runaway metabolism. I hope to, maybe one day.
Have your stage weight, Mike? Has your stage weight increased?
Over that same time?
Yeah.
Moderately.
How much are we talking?
Well, I was like 193, I think, when I did my first show, or 196, somewhere in there. And like I was 208 at nationals. So
that's a pretty good leap.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we're talking about a decade, though, really.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant 1 year. I thought you were talking 1 year.
Well, no, because I started competing in 2017, and I did my last show in 2019, and I was taking a year off to grow when they shut down all the gyms and had the pandemic and all that stuff. So
yeah.
I kind of took a hiatus from bodybuilding for a few years. I was still going to the gym every day and staying in shape, or at least working out at home in my home gym when the gyms were closed, and so I stayed in shape. I didn't get fat or anything, but I wasn't really focused on the bodybuilding. And then in 2023 is when I kind of dialed back in.
I don't know if you guys noticed this too, but people who have like lost a lot of weight, like they were obese and then, they're now like they're jacked and lean. Yeah. Their calories seem to be much lower than somebody who's like in my situation, who started off as like a stick and then got swole, because my calories, I'm not even joking, have gone from bulking on 3,200 to bulking on 7,900, just like 7 days a week, because I couldn't keep up. Jeez. Like, so I every day was eat as much as I could, and I was losing on my last diet 3.8 pounds a week on 3,700 calories. So 3,700 calories was like tanking me. And I think it seems to need long periods of like surplus to cause these changes to happen. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but like,
yeah, I definitely noticed that pattern of like people who are, the hard gainers tend to be the ones who can eventually have such a higher metabolic need. Whereas the people who are naturally heavier, like, I'm a naturally fatter person. Like I said, I was 130, 135 pounds of no muscle before, which is kind of chunky on 5'2". Like that's just how I would walk around. Like it's always been harder for me to be lean. So, and you know, correspondingly, my intake hasn't really gone up. My metabolic need hasn't gone up, even though I've gotten so much more muscular. But you know, my coach made a point a couple of years ago that makes sense, that it's kind of an advantage that I don't need a lot to grow, and like my body is very receptive to taking on fuel and storing it and using it. That's kind of an advantage, because a lot of people get stopped by their capacity to eat enough to grow, right? And that's probably never going to be my problem.
Yeah.
Like I could easily, I have a bottomless pit fucking appetite. I will never be stopped by my appetite. At the height of my calories, even for I've had a 1.5 year long growing phases at like 2,700 calories before. I could gladly eat twice that much every day.
I think, yeah, that's the biggest thing, is how does the appetite signaling match the caloric maintenance?
Yeah,
But,
I've never lost my appetite.
Yeah. Every off season for me, like I'm never hungry for a single meal. It's like I have to mechanically chew and then swallow it with Gatorade or ginger ale, basically, for every single meal.
I've never been there. I've never even been close to that.
And it seems like there's like a stall point too. Like what I was originally able to grow and make progress on 5,100, I then had to go up, 5,600, 6,000, whatever, and then the stalls just keep happening. It's like the food is going in, but the weight isn't moving even after prolonged periods. It's like, it's weird.
Hey, Mike, I got a question here for you from Joshua Perry, and then we're going to be wrapping it up, guys. And I want to say thank you to Tanya, Mike. Before we go, Mike, you still haven't told us about your favorite prep meal, but let's answer Joshua's question here first. How many pounds do you typically lose in your cup, Mike? 8, 10?
It depends on the starting point, really. I'm anticipating like my coach Paul is also anticipating like 10 or 12 pound drop from my starting point at 226. So if I can get on stage somewhere around 212 or something, I think that would be great.
Yeah, I'm in a different situation. I'm not like preparing for a show like that, so I drop like 20 plus, like to like if I'm super bulked up to all the way over dieted down. It's been extreme as this 50 pounds, but
well, and this lends itself to the previous conversation you were just having too. Like my first prep was, I lost so much weight, it was crazy. And I couldn't get lean, and I was dieting my ass off. I did 6 weeks on nothing but fish and egg whites.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it was, we pushed really hard. And then the next one was also, not as hard. And then I didn't do a show in 2018 and 2019. It was a little bit easier. But that being said, like once you fight that weight off, like the first couple preps are the most difficult. Once you fight that weight off and you get lean and you stay lean through an off season, then it gets a little easier. And I started off like I got that fat kid metabolism you were talking about. When I started off, like it was hard for me to lose body fat. And I would never say it's been easy for me to add muscle, but I'm sure it was easier in the beginning to add muscle. You get to a point where, I'm old enough now where I'm fighting sarcopenia along the way, so now my metabolism is just stupid fast. So it's nothing like it was when I started.
Yeah, I've never experienced a fast metabolism. The heaviest I've ever been intentionally, not that 170-pound train wreck, but since being with my coach, the heaviest I got up to intentionally was like 140. I started this prep in the low 130s because the growing phase we had before that was a little shorter than I normally do. It was only like 6 months or so since the most recent diet before that. And so I've only lost about 10 pounds at this point, and the majority of that has, no joke, happened in the last 4 weeks. I've dropped like 2 pounds a week for the last 4 or 5 weeks, and up until that point, I really didn't drop any weight. I just like got leaner.
Yeah, that's what you want, right? Like sort of like recompositioning. You know, you don't want to have to drop a bunch of weight. I mean, that's how my master's prep was. I held on to the weight all the way to the end. It was just the last few days that when we were trying to get all the water off me that I really dropped. I thought I was going to be on stage at 212, 214 then, but we had some water that was just really stubborn. And I think it was a result of a multitude of things, but not the least of which was the stress going into the show. I was having a lot of anxiety in my first national show, and I was kind of in my own head about it. And I've literally talked about this on podcasts before, and controlling cortisol and how that's like a vicious cycle. If you get into that, being stressed about the show, your body's producing cortisol, and then it's ruining your look. And as your look gets ruined, you get more worried about the show. It's like this perpetual just assault on your physique and through your mind. And it's like, if you don't get a hold of your mind, then it's not going to change. And that's exactly what happened.
That's why I've been really adamant. I've been really adamant about like making sure that these last 2 weeks are as low stress as possible. Like I took these first 2 weeks off leading up to the show, completely off shifts at the gym. Like the only work I'm doing is client work from home. I'm not training anybody in person. I'm not doing any shifts at the gym. I'm just going to the gym to train, doing my client work at home, and that is it. And even next week, everybody who's scheduled to check in next week, I told them skip the check-in. Like I'm not fucking around.
What do you think about the opposite approach where you drop fast in the beginning when you still have the most body fat to spare, and then go roll really smoothly into the show?
Pretty person
ideal, right? If you can be ready 3-4 weeks early.
Not so much as when you're trying to be ready, you just like try to initiate really vigorous weight loss at the start, like and have something to pull back from rather than to try to dig deeper at the end.
Well, you mean when you say weight loss, you mean fat loss, right? Because we're trying to hold on to as much weight as we can.
It will almost always be weight loss in somebody who's like coming from bulking off season to cut on androgens, and if you're adding in some new stimulus like androgens or something like that, then the weight will probably be steady, could even go up. But if you're hammering as hard as you can to grow and then trying to diet, I feel like, at least what I've seen, it's the weight's going to drop in that case. That's what I'm basing it off of.
Well, I know the way Paul likes to work is that we start kind of slow. Like the first few weeks is just taking out high days and kind of adjusting to the idea of a diet. And then we go pretty hard at it for about 6 to 8 weeks and try to get myself to where I'm that lean as I need to be. And then we just kind of cruise from there. And that way you can stay full. You can stay, you're not losing a bunch of weight. You keep plenty of carbs on board.
Right. I think the thing I'm referring to is like it's 2 weeks, 3 weeks left, and like you're still dropping like 2+ pounds a week, or
you don't want to be there.
Even 1.5 pounds a week. Yeah. That's like the worst to avoid. That's the thing you want to avoid the most.
No, at that point you should be chasing little stubborn bits of fat. You should be overall about as lean as you're going to be.
Right.
And it's also, it's also dependent on, gender too, because you have to consider that a female is not, or probably shouldn't be, on a cycle for the entire prep.
That's true.
So if we're considering during the cycle being the time to be more aggressive with the prep, that's probably only going to be maybe the last half of the prep for the female. Like I started my prep December 15th, which, I mean, 16, 17 weeks to me is still kind of a short prep, but I didn't start a cycle until February because I'm not going to be on a cycle for 16 weeks.
Yeah.
Right.
And also not all body fat comes off of the same areas at the same speed too.
Like, unfortunately,
you know, it's conducive. The faster you diet, the more conducive it is to stubborn body fat areas. You know, it's just like to get it off of those last places, then you have to like overdo it. And then you start digging into your fullness a bit.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right.
What's your favorite prep meal, Mike?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna. I forgot. Thank you for reminding me, Tanya. My gosh.
You know,
he always has good ideas for meals.
And it's probably not going to be for much longer, but lately I've been enjoying making my own little like chicken pho at home. And I use like a sodium-free bone broth, which is really just a little bit of collagen protein as far as macros go. I don't really count it. And then, you know, I'll measure my rice noodles, which are just basically made with rice and water. And I'll measure the rice noodles so I get the macros right. Throw some veggies in there. And then, you know, I'll weigh my chicken out, that my already pre-cooked chicken. I'll throw that in there. But, you know, it's it's starting to warm up. So soup isn't really the jam anymore. And last year I was, when I was prepping for nationals last year, I was smoking to the tilapia in my smoker. And I was living in the motorhome when I was in Vegas, training in Vegas. And I have this little smoker that fits underneath my coach. And I was smoking the tilapia and then eating that with like sauerkraut and rice. Like that was like my favorite meal. Like I wait for the end of the day to eat it. I was always excited to get to it. And yeah. And then when the rice came out, I still did it, but
that's awesome. You went and took it hardcore right to the freaking, you went out there in your trailer just to work out in Vegas. That's freaking sweet, dude.
Dude, I got to train
my Poke Bowls.
Top Olympians every day in some of the best gyms on the planet, in my opinion. And just the whole scene, the bodybuilding scene in Las Vegas is incredible.
Oh, thanks, man. That's nice. I'm here. You ordered from Gorilla just for you, man. Just for you. Speaking of which, Mike, I'm sure most people know what you do, who you are. You're on podcasts all over the place. You've been around a while, but real briefly, for anybody new that's watching, unique viewers, who is our target audience, please let them know how to contact you and what they could expect.
Yeah. Well, you can go to my website, muscleproject.net. That's a new website where I actually have my your ability to actually schedule directly with me. I have like 3 different coaching options available, ranging from like a very sort of hands-off approach where we do email check-ins, and I can give you like, you know, new diets every week, something really simple like that. It's under $100, all the way up to my elite packages, which are $500, and we can do, you know, live personal training sessions via Zoom or FaceTime. And or in person if you're local. I actually, about half my roster is local. So
good.
Yeah. And so I'm available for coaching. Check out my website, muscleproject.net. You can find me on Instagram at Mike Horner Muscle Project. Use my codes at gorillamind.com, MHP. You can use a code on my website specifically for YouTube viewers, MHP25. If you want some Muscle Project gear.
Yeah, you don't have your hat on tonight, you know? You got to get yourself, you do have the shirt on though, right? Oh, there it is. I knew you probably should get some bobbleheads and shit too. Mike bobbleheads. Yeah. But yeah, guys, all those links are always, of course, in the box. Probably not the discount codes, but definitely all the links. I'll probably find those links, those discount codes. That's what happens when you get all the way to the end of the stream. You've been hitting the end for the last hour. Codes. Anyway, so those codes will be in the box. And yeah, guys, Tanya, it was awesome having you on Blunt Force. Tanya, I am rooting for you next Saturday. I hope you kick some ass. I hope you get some content out of it too.
Yeah, I actually have there's a guy here local who is doing like vlog style documentaries of local competitors and stuff leading up to the show, and he actually did some filming of a training session and like a short interview with me 2 days ago, and he's going to be at, you know, athlete check-ins doing filming, and he's got a VIP ticket up front to do some filming at the show and stuff. Sweet. So I am actually going to have some content for free. I didn't even have to hire somebody, which is good because that is just not in my budget.
Right. I hear you. So
and
that's
there will
fantastic.
also be there's going to be a live stream, I guess, available on the show website. It's not up yet, but there's going to be a live stream available. I don't know how much it's going to be, but
please send me the link for that, and I'll help promote that for you.
For sure, for sure. And also, like, along with coaching and everything, I'll do posing calls as well. I never push that because I honestly forget about it, but I have done posing calls with people before in all divisions. And honestly, I'm kind of better at, other than figure, I'm better at male divisions than the female divisions just because of clients I've helped and everything. So I do offer posing coaching as well.
Cool. Check her out, hit her up, sub up to IG accounts as well. Mike Horner. I'm, of course, Studio 182 Digital Pro for any content editing, social media, channel algorithm, SEO optimization. Hit me up. I'm happy to work with you. I also am partnering up with another company that does installs for studio sound and lighting. Doesn't have to be just podcast studios. It could be musicians and all that. Hit me up. My email is erick@studiopro.com. And Austin, off to you, brother, before we say goodnight.
Thank you to everybody. Thanks to everyone coming out. And gonna offer a plug for myself to do consults just for recreating the honeymoon period. That's my claim that I'm alleging. So $250, just a one single thing, and you will be able to experience what it is like to have super physiological androgens without a crushed SHBG for the first time.
There you go.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
It's keep that honeymoon protocol like going all the freaking time, because you know how awesome it is when you start HRT and you're like, this is amazing. Your spouse or your partner is like, you guys are back like you're in high school. Next thing you know, it falls off the cliff and you don't know what the fuck happened. That's your guy right there. You contact Austin, he'll take care of you. All right. That's Austin Oral at Parabolic 33. Guys, next week we have Damian Nowak coming on. I'm not sure who we have for a supporting guest, but you want to talk about a guy who's into data. And he's actually the guy who, well, I'm not going to spill the beans, but his wife's on HRT too. And you want to talk about some insane blood work for a female. Wow. I mean, it's fucking intense. So we're going to have a good time next Thursday. Have a freaking awesome weekend, an excellent week ahead, and we will see you next Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 4 p.m. Pacific. Thanks again, everybody. Have a great night.